Hello there, it's Gus here. I know it's been, a while, but I'm finally back at it, and I got some good news. Listen to this. I'm making a project, and I'm taking you along with me on the ride, so that you can learn how does one start a project, how does one keep going in a project, how do you organize yourself for a project. All big questions that all artists have to go through somehow, and I'm gonna take you along with me on the ride. You ready? Let's do it. I'm first gonna present the comic briefly, because yes, I'm making a comic, and then talk about all these questions. How does one do it? How do you get started? This is the first episode of a vlog series where I'll document the entire process. Let's do it. So what is this project I'm talking about? It's a comic. Already said that one, I'm gonna repeat it. It's a 20 to 25 pages comic, roughly, because I have stories to tell, and I think it's a cool way to tell stories. What is this comic book about, you might ask? Let me tell you, my friend. In a place similar to our 90s Brooklyn, we follow the story of Mike, a roughly 15 or so years old dude who is into skateboarding, and while he does pretty cool tricks, he struggles to be himself face to face with other people. One day at the skate park, there's a crane that's been set up above the skating area, and some kids are using a rope to swing from it, kinda like Tarzan's Spider-Man style. Mike, who is really just a kid that likes to have fun, thinks that with more momentum one could swing and jump off to a roof to the other side of the park. The other kids third to push him to try, but he's scared and he just crashes into the ground. But he's not giving up that easily, and he figures that if he could jump and then latch onto the crane with some sort of a grapple, it could work. He then gets to work trying to get this idea he has into an actual physical object and overcome his fear by jumping into the unknown. So this is a pretty simple story about overcoming your fears, being yourself, taking risks, and mostly having fun, to be honest. It's about taking a leap into the unknown and trying things like I'm doing right now. I don't really know what I'm doing, I'm just trying and seeing what happens. So I'm making a story about that. Where do you start? How do you start such a project? If you think it sounds like a daunting task, I'd agree. It's actually kind of a big thing, but you gotta cut it down into bite-sized pieces so that you can organize yourself properly with the amount of time and all the resources you have to get it done and keep going on the project. It is very important to have a clear vision of all the steps you're gonna go through to make the actual project. A clear vision of the end goal and all the milestones that the steps represent. But what do you need to make a comic? Well, first, a comic is about telling a story, right? So you need to craft a story. Then you're gonna need characters and places to tell that story, so you're gonna do all the design and concept arts. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm nearly done. Just a couple more pieces of concept art of the environment because I'm kind of struggling with this one. I'll be done. And then you're actually gonna start the illustration with penciling, inking, maybe coloring. I don't really know about that one yet. And you get to all the boring shit, or just scan, print it, and organize it into a book, because I want to actually have a physical book I can hold in my hands. I don't know, I just think it's so cool to have like a book and tell people, yo, I made this. All of this entire thing is going to be covered step by step in this vlog, so you can document yourself if you're like me, sort of a beginner intermediate that wants to make it like as a pro. And if you don't really know where to start, you can follow along what I do. Like, I'm not here to, brag about how handsome I am or how good I am at drawing, because to be fair, I'm not that far ahead of most people that watch these videos. I'm just here to share. That's what YouTube is about, in my opinion. So, get back to business. The first step is crafting a story. I'm gonna be honest, this is by far what I struggle the most with. I'm a guy that likes drawing fun shit. But that's it. I'm not a guy, I'm no magician. I can't just be, boom, good story, because, it's the hardest thing, because you have to go from nothing to something. Just drawing, you have already, indication of the guy who made the story. The story guy has nothing. So you must give yourself something to start. I'm no magician. I can just turn from boom, boom, I got something. You have to start basic and then craft onto it. Hey, I'm gonna recommend you guys a video by Jake Parker. He's an art YouTuber. I'm gonna be honest, I think he makes some of the best content on the entire platform. And you probably know him as the guy behind Inktober and shit. And he has a video about making stories for comics. I'm looking at the description. It's 1,000 times better than anything I could do with my current level. So I just recommend you watch this and then come back here. This video is to give you how to do it, and I'm just gonna share my experience doing it. So when you'll be done watching this video, you could come back here and listen to how I crafted my story. So what you can see right here is my story idea containment unit, or just my idea copybook. It's basically a little copybook I got, just to write down story ideas I have. I used to do it on like little paper like this, but it wasn't really practical, so I got this. These are our little ideas, and boom, that's the one. I wrote the title in English for some reason, but the rest is in French, so I'm gonna do my best to explain what it means to you in a simple way. The first thing I got was just what Jake Parker calls the idea capture in his videos. So basically, what's the cool thing I want to draw? I wrote it down in a simple way. I wanted to draw some guy swinging off a crane with a grappling hook. So I crafted something that could do it. I started obviously with the character. So the character, I defined him as a guy that likes skate, parkour and stuff. He is pretty good at doing it. So they got me the ideas for the first scene a little bit later. But he is scared of doing it in front of other people, which is going to lead to him failing at first, crashing onto the ground, and then he's just not going to give up, try again, and do it cool. I wanted to define the ambiance, I think you say it that way, the vibe overall, so Brooklyn, 90s, stuff like that. Graph everywhere, so I think it would be cool. And I want to have graffiti, because I think graffiti is cool. So I introduced Mike's best friend, which is a grapher. Just to show you how the ideas come together. So first thing, the first thing he does is actually a scene where he's skating alone. He's just in his own world to show how he is actually competent if he's not just stressing himself about how other people see him. So at first, the first scene, he's just gonna get out of his house and then just do some cool tricks on his way to the skate park. Then he gets to the skate park, establishing shot, and meets his friend and everything, and the whole scene where he just fails. But what I wanted to show about this character is how just relentlessness can lead to, doing cool stuff. So then he just sort of shells up, gets back home, and gets to his father's garage to start and try and craft a grapple. This idea I actually got by watching a YouTube video. I'm just telling you that to show you how you can get ideas for your stories basically anywhere. It was just random YouTube videos I was watching because I waste my time way too much. About some guy that was trying to swing like Spider-Man in real life, and he crafted like a little contraption that launches a string with a bunch of hooks, and that can attach your stuff, and then he swings. And I was like, okay, I want to make a comic with this. I'm gonna link the video in the description if you want to watch it, because it's actually kind of a cool piece of content, even though I probably would be better off stop watching this fucking dumb stuff and making more comics. But that doesn't matter. Then I just sort of improvised a very rough idea of how the story was gonna organize itself. I want a very epic scene where he swings and actually gets to the roof, the thing he first failed to do, but I just thought, actually, that might not be the coolest thing to draw, so I'm gonna have the reveal of how he succeeded, but not, like, show the actual moment when he lands. I think that's gonna be cooler. Plus, it's, I think, a very important thing to figure out what you show and also what you don't show in sequential art and comics. So I'm gonna not show this, but I'm gonna draw another trick right after that, because another aspect of trying new things is, well, failing. So I want to showcase that after that, he's still not a perfect guy. He gets too confident, jumps off again, does a cool swing, does another cool swing, like really cool stuff. I have the choreography in my head, and then just crashes into the floor, because it happens. Sometimes you just get too cocky and you fuck up. And the last scene at the hospital to show that, yeah, he failed, yeah, he hurt himself a little bit, but and what? It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, sometimes you're gonna become an idiot and do stupid stuff, but you can always get back up and keep trying. That's what I want to show with this character. Just always, with what you show, link back to the first idea you had. What did I want to do? Draw a dude swinging from a crane to show how relentlessness can be good, but then imperfections happen. That was the idea. Then I defined the scenes a little bit more, very roughly again. That's just a sketch. Well, he's ugly as fuck. Why did I do that? Whatever. That's just the steps. So first scene, he gets out of his house. Second scene, the little tricks he does to the skate park. Third, he gets to the skate park. Roughly the number of pages we're gonna take. Then the rest of the scene at the skate park where he crashes. He gets back to his father's garage, crafts the little grappling hook. 3 pages roughly. He has an epic walk to the skate park, and we see the start of when he swings, when he's scared, but he does it anyways and stuff. Then the jump, we don't see the end of it. the reveal where the other like kids at the skate park see him. I think we came up with 2 characters that are actually gonna matter in like the background dudes. Then he does a really cool trick where he falls on the ground. I think this is like the big fun thing I want to draw. I'm gonna do a big double page spread and everything. And then the scene at the hospital is gonna be like 1 page. So that was the first draft of how many pages it was actually gonna take to tell the story. And then I just kept improving, doing the characters. So Mike, the protagonist, Dre, his like grapher friend. I think it could be cool to have some guy to contrast him, so I introduced that guy. Then we get a little dude I had designed a while ago, actually, just in a sketchbook session. I call him Momo. He's like a really confident guy that's at the skate park too. He's one of the guys he sees swinging from the rope originally, so he's sort of a guy he looks up to in a way. And then there is his friend that's sort of an idiot, and he's gonna be the one like pushing him to do the swing. But that's how I crafted basically the story. Start with a basic idea, develop on that with ideas you get from basically anywhere, but still link back to the first thing you want to do. Yeah, that's it. And then there's a blank page, another opportunity to do a cool story. Let's go. So, that's how I crafted the story. It's not the most engaging story by any means, but I actually think it's cool because it does its job. It talks about stuff like fear, to overcome it, fun, all that stuff. It's not necessarily the best story, but it definitely serves its purpose as a story that talks about fun and throwing yourself into the unknown. Fitting a proper character arc in 20-25 pages is really fucking tough, so I narrowed it down to the most basic stuff. It's not really the character going through an arc, it's more the character showing something about the character, mostly. Not really making him change, but sort of making the audience discover him. That's what I try to narrow down the arc to. So I went for simplicity and personality. It's a very simple and personal story. That's, I think, the main thing about it. Plus, this entire project is about proving that I can be a visual storyteller, and a poor story told in a good way can be really cool, and that's what I'm trying to do, making something cool and fun. What I'm really going to challenge is how I tell stories, not really how I made them. Is it because I'm lazy? That's arguable, but in tackling the skills I'm going to need once at a time. Well, if you don't like the story of the comic, I at least hope you'll like the story of the dumbass dude who's trying to do it, that I'm going to tell in the form of these vlog videos that are mostly poorly edited, but that doesn't matter because I'm trying to be genuine while talking to my phone. In a foreign language. That ain't easy. I'll get more into the more personal stuff, why I'm making this comic and the other steps later in the future episodes. That's just to get it started. The next one, I don't really know what the next one is going to be about. It's either going to be about design process or why I make the comic, the motivations. Let me know in the comments what you want to see first. So until next time, do the whole like and subscribe shit, have fun, keep on improving, and have a pleasant rest of your day. It had been a while since I said this, bro. I miss saying this. Peace.